Hey guys, welcome back to JNC on Tap, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I decided that I wanted to start putting out some like midweek content for you guys, and I thought about it, and I thought, let's do some beer facts. Like, not just like boring beer facts, but like some interesting stories maybe. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about kind of the fun shit that we do when we drink, or things that other people have done when they drink. I don't know. So today's story is a little bit of a wild one, and I would recommend getting a beer and hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm going to take you all the way over to West Texas today, and specifically over to Lajitas, Texas. And this is a little, what you would call a one-horse town. And in this little one-horse town is a little trading post, and right at that trading post there is a mare, and that mare is a goat, and that goat is a long family tree and history of his grandpa and his grandpa's grandpa running this town as beer drinking goats. So back in the 1980s, there was a rich Houston man, and he actually owned Lajitas. And in the mid-1980s, he was running a, what would you call it, a fundraiser of some sort. I didn't look into those details. They don't quite matter because that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is that beer drinking goat, and we'll get there soon. So anyhow, they were at this fundraiser, and him and some buddies, and they're joking around, probably drinking a beer. And they looked at each other and they said, I think we need a town mayor. And so they decided to host their own election, right? Didn't ask any of the townspeople. Mind you, none of these guys live in Lajitas. Didn't have an actual real ballot. They just joked around and had their own little, apparently a mock election. And they elected one of their buddies, and their buddy went on to be the town mayor of Lajitas. But of course, you can guess that pissed off some locals, right? So these locals, they just kept getting mad and more mad, and they're like, what can we do about this situation? So one of these guys, I think the last name was Ivy, he decided that if this guy can come in from Houston and decide to be the town mayor, and he don't even live there, well then, damn it, his goat lives here. His goat can do a better job. So it turns out that his goat was quite famous in that little one-horse town, so he apparently hung out down at the trading post and spent a lot of time with the locals drinking beer. So when the town decided to host a poll on the ballot, of course the Houston man had to put his name on there. He just had to show his ass, apparently. So the top of that ballot was the Houston man. We all knew he was going to lose. The next on the ballot was Clay Henry the First, the goat. The next one was Clyde, I think his name was. It was a dog. And the last one was a wooden statue that hung out at the trading post. There's your 4 people, livestock, house pet, and decoration that was on the ballot. In order to put on this poll, the locals held a charity event for it, and they charged a poll tax, basically. So everybody that voted had to pay a tax, and that's how this all took place. And of course, Clay Henry the First won, because why wouldn't he win? He was the town mascot for the most part. I mean, everybody knew who he was, and so the Houston guy ran back off to Houston and did his merry little thing and never did come back. But so Clay Henry the First went on to run, and he handled that town with a hooved fist. And if you wanted anything done in the town, apparently you better bring him beer, because he wouldn't look at you otherwise. He expected his beer. Apparently he drank like 40 beers a day. People would drive through this one-horse town and stop to see Clay Henry and drink a beer with him. Yeah, I guess I probably would too. And with that being said, at one point. I think this was in 1992. So, you know, 6 years later, Clay Henry the First and Clay Henry the Second got a little bit of a heated argument over a lady during mating season, right? And I'm sure they were drunk, because that's what they both did. Turned out Clay Henry II wasn't really much better than Clay Henry I when it came to drinking. They were both alcoholics. I was going to say borderline, but they were definitely both alcoholics. Apparently, Clay Henry II could outdrink Clay Henry I. So, they got into it, and Clay Henry II killed his dad over a woman. A female goat, not a woman. So, Clay Henry II, by proxy, took over as town mayor, and he ruled for a while. I say rule, but I guess you could say rule. I don't know, whatever you want to say he did. He was the town mayor. He did whatever he wanted. He clearly just took the title. So, Clay Henry went on to be the mayor for a while, and Clay Henry III came along. Clay Henry II retired. And when Clay Henry III kind of was doing his thing in his pen, you know, there was a pen that all these generational beer drinking goats hung out in at the trading post, right? And this is where people could stop and hang out and drink a beer with them. So that's where they lived, right? They didn't get to live with the farmer anymore, the man that put Clay Henry on the map, per se. They didn't get to live that life anymore, because now they lived at the town trading post. So Clay Henry III was enjoying a night in his pen at the trading post, and apparently a town local was pissed off because it was Sunday, and apparently in Texas you can't buy beer on Sundays. So Mr. Clay Henry III, everybody was still bringing him beer, and that pissed off this guy. It pissed him off so bad he castrated Clay Henry III. He didn't want no more beer drinking goats, but the joke was on him. There was already another Clay Henry IV ready to take over. So Clay Henry III, he survived. He was fine. He did go on to retire. And Clay Henry IV took over. And I think there's like a Clay Henry V now. Something like that. I don't know. They just keep electing these goats, these beer drinking goats, these alcoholic beer drinking goats as their town mayor. Because what else you got to do in a town like that but then to drink beer with a goat? So with that being said, if you're ever in the Lojitas area, stop and drink a beer with a goat. Maybe give him a beer. Apparently that's the only way to get his attention. And then while you're there, and I'll find this information for you, there's a museum nearby where you can actually go meet Clay Henry I. Yeah, he's taxidermied there. So, anyhow, that's your weekly beer facts, or whatever we want to call it. I don't know, maybe I'll have a better name for this next week, because beer facts is pretty boring, if you ask me. Anyway, I forgot to cheers you guys, so cheers, and we'll see you on Friday.